Ronda Rousey shoots hard on Vince McMahon and WWE. A top name leaves WWE. My review of AEW Dynamite and more. I'm Oli Davis, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Becky Lynch will release her much-anticipated autobiography on Tuesday, which is titled The Man, Not Your Average Girl. And, coincidentally, the week after that, Becky's former WWE rival Ronda Rousey will release her second book, which is titled Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis and WWE. Ronda Rousey's autobiography, actually called Our Fight, will come out on the 2nd of April, the go-home week for WrestleMania XL, and several sections have already been publicly released, all of which shoot hard on WWE and its disgraced former chairman, Vince McMahon, whom she refers to as WWE's Emperor Palpatine. For those not familiar with that reference, Emperor Palpatine is the captain of the Borg. I love Battlestar Galactica. It's unknown whether these passages were written before or after the public filing of Janelle Grant's lawsuit in late January, which alleged sexual assault and trafficking against McMahon, which McMahon denies. But Rousey recalls it was hard to tell where the evil, unethical, slimeball character of Vince McMahon's on-screen character ended and the actual, questionably ethical, many times sued and multiple times accused of sexual misconduct, Vince McMahon begins. But it wasn't just Vince that she targeted. She called out the sexist, casting couch culture of the entire company, which had McMahon at its helm. And she was cynical about WWE's more recent progressive presentation of the women's division, as the company always saw its female performers as footnotes where men in powerful positions pressured female talent for sexual favours in return for airtime. There were so many public accusations and scandals, it's hard to keep track, and more than I'm sure the WWE managed to sweep under the ring. She continued, citing WWE's business partnership with Saudi Arabia, where Ronda did wrestle at Elimination Chamber 2022. Pay-per-views are held in major cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Philadelphia, as well as now twice a year in Saudi Arabia, a nation that restricts the rights of women in a way that I'm certain Vince McMahon wishes he could. She did have some nice things to say though, like about Triple H, whom she calls in the book one of the better people on the business side. After the release of these sections of the book, Rousey posted an interview clip explaining why she didn't spend more time trashing current WWE Executive Director Bruce Pritchard and former Head of Talent Relations John Laurinaitis. She said there wasn't enough space in her autobiography to dedicate to a these old bastards quest. She also called WWE a show behind the scenes and one she has no intention of returning to. Speaking of leaving WWE, one of the longest tenured corporate names in the company has exited. WWE's Executive Vice President of Live Events, John Porco. PW Insider have reported that Porco, who had been with the company since 1999, actually left the company last month, despite the news only being public now. Prior to his role of EVP of Live Events, Porco held the title of Director of Marketing from 2002 to 2022, with 3 years as Public Relations Coordinator prior to that. He will be replaced by Justin Scalisi, who was previously Senior Vice President of Live Event Marketing. Porco is just the latest top executive to leave WWE following the TKO merger with the UFC completing last September. But now it's time for my review of AEW Dynamite in about 5 minutes. To distract from Toronto's lousy March weather, I saw your sign and I love it. The show started with Mercedes CEO, Monet introducing her own video package. What is this? 2019 WWE? It was to explain where she's been for the last 2 years, just in case you don't watch The Mandalorian or New Japan Pro Wrestling, where she suffered a near career-ending injury at the hands of Willow Nightingale, again teasing that feud. But before then, she seems more set for the TBS verse, as its champion Julia Hart, with Sky Blue, went to attack Monet, but she was saved by their Street Fight opponents for later in the night, Chris Statlander and Nightingale, where Willow had a few lingering moments holding a chair behind Monet's back. Backstage later on, Chris thanked Mercedes for saving Nightingale last week, but when Willow tried to apologise for the whole ankle break thing, Monet fobbed her off. The first match of the episode, however, was Eddie Kingston defending his Continental Championship, but not the Triple Crown Championship, so not the New Japan Strong or Ring of Honor World Championships, against Kazuchika Okada. Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed. It's so strange seeing Okada as such an old-school Ric Flair-like heel, begging off from Eddie at points, only to sucker him into something like a DDT on the outside for him to then flash his huge evil grin. I'm really enjoying it. And to add to his new presentation even more, it then cut to the Jacksons on the production desk, complete with Tony Khan cameo, who commanded a replay of that move. Okada and Eddie had a really good match, with Okada simply gouging the eyes at the end to hit a single Rainmaker to win. But I do feel like there's a far more elevated match in them. After all, this only had 2 weeks of build and went 15 minutes on TV. I don't know if that's the direction AEW are going in though. Full transparency, I'm an Eddie Kingston superfan. I think most segments in AEW should have everyone on screen asking, how angry is Eddie Kingston right now? Which, spoiler, is usually very, very angry. But he lost his championship here. Well, you know, one third of the championship here. The championship he was the inaugural winner of. The one he fought as the underdog through AEW's first C2 tournament. The one he successfully defended against Bryan Danielson. And there wasn't a single shot of Eddie's reaction to his defeat. Instead, Pat came immediately onto the ramp to set himself up as Okada's next challenger. In summary, very good match. Great that Okada won, making that the quickest AEW title from debut to winning, and I cannot wait for him versus Pac. But I'm worried about Kingston plunging back down to Ring of Honor, and AEW just undid their title unification, meaning we've effectively just got another belt. Hook destroyed Chris Jericho in Jericho's latest attempt to get people to cheer him. It didn't work, as they still booed when he almost got out the red rum before Hook got an inside cradle to win. Considering Hook's performance in this match and that a recent resignation should trigger a by-election, I say we elect Hook as the new mayor of Suplex City. Jericho has a proposition for Hook next week, which will probably be they enter the tag tournament. Adam Cole cut a promo from his very big house in the country, saying he's disappointed in Wardlow because Wardlow should be AEW champion by now. Instead, he commanded Wardlow to effectively be the Undisputed Kingdom's henchman, which is quite the demotion. I don't know if the newer, more badass version of Wardlow will accept that. Will Ospreay cut yet another fantastic promo, apologising for being a heel the last time he was in Canada, and replied to Bryan Danielson's line about stepping into his shoes, saying he can't. They're too small! Oh, what does that mean for penis size? He set up a match against Shibata next week. Thunder Rosa blind tagged herself in despite Deonna Purrazzo being mid-sequence. The jackknife pinned Toni Storm, positioning Rosa for a shot at the AEW women's title she never lost. Swerve Strickland issued an open challenge to a big guy, which probably should have been a pissed off Wardlow, but I'm never going to complain when I get to see The Butcher, aka Dr. Robotnik on crack, wrestle a singles match. Swerve won in what was effectively an enhancement match, getting over his new submission win, some kind of triangle armbar. He called out Samoa Joe afterwards, who obliged, and said the only way he's going to shut Swerve up is to give him that world title singles match. Don Callis interrupted to heat so loud you could barely hear him talk, which set up Takeshita versus Swerve next week. And then the main event saw Christian defending his TNT Championship against Adam Copeland in a quit no match. The big match occasion really translated into reality, with the Toronto crowd chanting "Holy S" before they even locked up. Both men took the description of a hockey fight and made it literal, with Copeland dressing them both in hockey jerseys. Sports! Throwing Christian into a hockey goal. Touchdown! And Shayna Wayne whacking Copeland's puck with a hockey stick. 180! And because they're all Canadian-type Pokemon, it's super effective. There was also a bunch of inventive TLC-style references, with an Edge-O-Matic on a ladder bridge, a Christian splash on Edge through a table outside, and a barbed wire concerto attempt. The only thing I would have changed was that this should have been a TLC match rather than an I Quit stipulation. The patriarchy got involved, but Copeland's mates Daniel Garcia and Daddy Magic equaled the odds. They handcuffed Christian, Killswitch and Nick Wayne to the turnbuckles, but even though Copeland swung his spiked paddle right into Christian's dick, the father still wouldn't quit. For me though, that is your finish. Having Christian say "I quit" in front of both his sons after being metaphorically castrated is a very poetic end to this feud. Instead, Christian quit moments later because Edge was literally going to kill him, running at his head with the spiked paddle. It means Copeland won the TNT Championship in his hometown, and it makes two legit world title wrestlers secondary title holders with him and Okada. This week's Dynamite is 82%. Now go please watch our WrestleTalk original on who really killed WCW by clicking the video over there. And if you've seen it already, watch it again and share it around.